Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Glendale Housing Authority meeting for January 30th, 2007. May we have, I'll call the meeting to order at 2:33 p.m. May we have a roll call, please?
Authority members Mincy.
Here.
Najarian.
Here.
Barazian.
Here.
Quintero.
Here.
Weaver.
Here.
Yusefian. Chairman Manukian.
Here. And the report of the city clerk, please.
The agenda for the January 30, 2007 regular meeting of the Glendale Housing Authority was posted on Thursday, January 25, 2007 on the bulletin board outside City Hall.
Okay, next is minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
4A.
Second.
It's a motion second. Any discussion or changes? No discussion or changes. The minutes will be approved as submitted. Next item, please.
Next item is oral communication. Discussion is limited to items not a part of this agenda. Each speaker is allowed 5 minutes. Members of the Housing Authority may question or respond to the speaker, but there will be no debate or decision. The matter may be referred to staff through the Executive Director for investigation and report.
I have no cards for oral communications. Oral communications closed. Next item, please, at 6A.
At the business agenda at 6A is Director of Community Development and Housing regarding project update on exclusive negotiating agreement with San Gabriel Valley Habitat for Humanity for development of an affordable home ownership project located at 711 through 717 North Kenwood Avenue, and proposal to begin preparation for a disposition and development agreement, DDA. At 6A1 is motion to note and file the project update and authorize the Director of Community Development and Housing to begin preparation of the DDA with the San Gabriel Valley Habitat for Humanity for development of the affordable home ownership project.
Thank you. And Mr. Weaver?
My colleagues don't have questions. I'll move 6A1.
Second.
Motion and second. I would like a brief overview.
Oh, and I think there's
I
plenty
think
of people
this
here
is
would like to hear a report on this.
this is an important.
Just so you know where we're going.
Let me ask Peter Zobak, Development and Preservation Administrator, to give you a brief staff report and introduce again. A lot of people here you know, but there are some new faces that I think can be introduced. Peter?
I
Correct.
hope you don't change our mind after you.
Mr. Chair, members of the Housing Authority, the bulk of the presentation is really going to be provided by Habitat for Humanity, the Executive Director, Sonia Yates. But just a little background on this project. Back in December of 2005, the Authority entered into an exclusive negotiation agreement with San Gabriel Valley Habitat for Humanity for the proposed development of a new affordable home ownership condominium development project. The site is a vacant parcel that is owned by the Housing Authority located at 711 through 717 North Kenwood Avenue. Habitat proposed and continues to propose the development of 11 units that will be oriented with subterranean parking. For this, the purpose of the ENA was to establish certain performance standards that Habitat must meet in order to go to the next steps of the preparation and execution of a DDA and the sale of the land to Habitat. For this particular project, the most important standard that Habitat had to achieve was that of pre-development funding commitments. Typically, with these types of projects, we require some amount of funding made available at the beginning of the project in order for Habitat to proceed. Because the previous Habitat projects have been 4-unit, 3-unit projects, the amount of funding we require to have up front has been relatively small, $200,000 to $400,000. And they've been able to do that in the past without a problem. For this particular project, because of the nature of the work, the high number of units that are being developed, the subterranean parking, the amount of skilled labor that they're going to need to pay for the development, we took a look at this and set a number of $1.1 million in pre-development funding that must be raised in order to go to the next step. And back in 2005, the Authority provided Habitat 14 months to begin and implement fundraising efforts to achieve that number. 14 months has come and gone, and I'm happy to report that Habitat, while not having raised the full 1.1, they've done a tremendous job. They've been able to raise approximately $937,000. At the time that this report was written, I believe 2 weeks ago, it was $937,000. They actually provided you a handout today, and I think the number now is $945,000, so it grew about $8,000 over 2 weeks in funding, approximately 85% of the required amount. With this level of funding, we feel very confident in being able to recommend to the Authority and moving forward with the next step of the preparation of the DDA. Between now and the start of construction on the project, and just the term of construction on the project, approximately 18 months, more than enough time to be able to raise that money should they need it. And we are really pleased with the job that Habitat has done over the last 14 months in terms of fundraising. They do a tremendous job in terms of building projects, and this was a very big challenge for them and their board and all of their volunteers and their committees. And they're going to talk about that right now. But again, we've had a staff member. I sat on the committee, the Kenwood Committee, over the last 14 months, and it's just amazing to see them proceed and start at basically a zero starting point. If you recall, they first were able to obtain that video by Harrison Ford that started, and they used that as their starter for fundraising efforts, and it just grew and grew and grew. So that's where we are. Staff is recommending authorization to proceed and prepare a DDA that will be brought back to the authority for approval, and we'll have all of the detailed points in that. With that, if there are no questions from the city side, I'll have Sonia Yates, the Executive Director, discuss fundraising efforts.
Thank you, Peter. Members of the Housing Authority, it is indeed my pleasure to be back before you this afternoon, especially with the good news that we are essentially there. The first person that I want to call up is Vicki Barbieri, our architect, and she will address the matter of entitlements, because this also was a large part of what we needed to perform within the 14-month period. Vicki's been excellent in sharing all of her files and resources, and it was this picture here of the concept of what the Kenwood homes will look like that we put on the prospectus for our potential funders, and also on our direct appeal pieces which explained the project. And so, Vicki, please tell us about the entitlements.
Good afternoon. My name is Vicki Barbieri, the architect for the Phase 06 project of Habitat for Humanity. We really have two hurdles to be able to jump in this project, and one was a reduction of parking, what was obtained and approved due that this is a project for low-income housing, and the second was Design Review Board. Well, we are pleased to say that we have both. We just been approved in Design Review Board this past Thursday, and I received yesterday the letter from the Planning Department approving our application for reduced parking, what it means all the hurdles that we needed has been passed and approved. Now we are in the process to go to a typical engineering of the project, civil engineering, drainage, structural, completing construction documents to go for plan check. And that is my report.
Long ago, a little less than a year ago, we did do the official survey, we did the soils testing, and have all of those reports. And I'm also happy to report that George Bogosian is our civil engineer, and he's doing all of the grading plans and the hydrology calculations and everything that we need to get ready. And the reason I particularly want to mention George is he is donating a large portion of his services to Habitat for Humanity. And I particularly want to recognize that, because it not only takes the cash that we have raised, but also it takes pro bono services as gifts and gifts in kind in order to make all of this happen. So we're very grateful for all of that support. Now I want to turn to our major funders. And I decided that instead of taking up your whole afternoon, I would limit the personal recognition to those donors who have provided $20,000 and above. And so I want to begin by recognizing the Weingart Foundation, our largest donor in this campaign. They have a pledge. It will not be paid until we are actually at the beginning of construction for $220,000. And the people that we recognize there are Fred Ali, who is the president and CEO, Bolin Vargas, who was our program officer. And you probably are aware that with the major foundations, they send a program officer to check out whether what you are telling them on the paper is actually so. And it was indeed a great pleasure and thrill for us to be funded by the Weingart Foundation. The other major foundation that contributed in this process is the Amundsen Foundation, and they have pledged that when we get the permit to begin, the building permit to begin this, the check will be in the mail for $200,000 for this as well. So obviously these two were a major source. I want to see if is Bill Schulte in the audience. I don't see him. I want to recognize him as a supporter from the Weingart Foundation. Next, I would like to invite Marilyn Waters to the podium, please. Marilyn is with the Walt Disney Company, and she is a friend and a partner with us in all that we are doing. She was instrumental in staging the content of the DVD that you've previously seen, in working with all of the staff who prepared that, in eventually working on its release for us, which came about February of last year. She was also responsible for the big party that we had in September. I think many of you were there, where we introduced potential donors and Glendale businesses to Habitat for Humanity through a very special insider's tour at Disney Imagineering. And so, Marilyn, we thank you for your personal part in all of that. It's been tremendous. It's been productive. And in addition to that, she is standing here today representing her colleagues at Disney, Joan McCarthy, who is on our advisory board and works with marketing all throughout Southern California for Disney. And they gave $50,000 specifically toward this project. Also, Don Goodman on our board of directors is the president of Imagineering at Disney. So, Marilyn, would you like to say something?
Well, I would just like to say what a pleasure it's been to work with such an important, valuable organization here in the community where Imagineering resides, because I'm with that particular division of the company. And the fact that the city is also doing matching land is, I think, really what makes all of us feel like all of our donations go even further. Plus, we have thousands of volunteers who are in line, actually, to come out and build homes with the Habitat team. So as a company here in Glendale, this is one of the perfect blends of everything for us, and it really means a lot to us personally to be able to help in any way jumpstart some of the fundraising, as well as partner with the city and all these other fine donors here. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Is Peter Miriani here this afternoon? I don't see Peter yet, but I do want to recognize him because he is a Yahoo employee advocate, and he took great pride and interest in helping to prepare an application to the Peninsula Community Foundation, which is the Yahoo employees group. And they funded us for the largest amount ever in their series of partnerships with us. This was for $30,000 for the Kenwood homes. So we do want to recognize and thank him, even though he is not here today. Next, I want to recognize Unite the United and Kevin Lyman. I didn't see Kevin here. Kevin is a big fan of our local Habitat affiliate, and I first met him at one of our galas called Rock the House, and he was having a good time and telling me about some of the concerts that he puts on. And he said that he had put on one for Katrina relief for Habitat International. And so I told him about Kenwood and said, how would you like to do something similar right here in your own backyard? And he came through, and one day here comes a check for $27,608. It was the proceeds from a concert. And so we greatly appreciate his tremendous support in augmenting our funding here. Next, Chapman and Associates, and I know that Terry Chapman, the owner and president, is not able to be with us here this afternoon, but Chapman and Associates were one of our very early donors with a contribution of $25,000. And so that wraps up our major foundation and corporate giving for this. Next, I want to recognize our board of directors, our advisory and honorary boards, and our staff members. We work very hard to get 100% participation from all of these groups. And you see there that so far there is a total of $83,265 coming from these individuals who are directly affiliated at San Gabriel Valley Habitat for Humanity. we're very proud of that, and I want to express my thanks to all board members who made that possible. Tom, I see you there. Why don't you come up and say a word or two on behalf of the board? Tom is just beginning his new assignment Thursday, when he becomes the president for our organization. Right now, he's the president-elect. Ann Doherty was boarding a plane this morning, and so, Tom, please represent the board.
Running a little late here, but we were all very proud and excited about everything we've been able to do with the City of Glendale, and in particular, this is a milestone for us, the biggest build we've ever done, 11 homes, and we all participated in the contributions towards the cause, and it's been a great unification for the whole team. So very excited about the Palmer project. But thank you.
I do want to say in conclusion about staff, too, that one of the very first gifts that came in was from our first Faith Relations Vista. Now, Vistas are only getting assessed in this kind of an allowance of around $11,000 a year, and so they truly are volunteers in service to America. But this young lady received a gift from her grandmother, and out of that, she donated $250 to Kenwood. Now I want to talk about our teams, and the first one that I will feature is our Women's Build team. All of you out there who worked on the Women's Build team, you want to stand up at this time and be recognized? And we'll talk about some names. Diane Moore, I'd like you to come and stand with me, and then we'll talk about these other portions of your team. I wish that Charlotte Hogan could have been here today, but she was not able to do that. The people that I have who are scheduled to be here are Donna Baker. Do we have Donna here yet? Donna lives and works in Monrovia, but she's a champion working on the Women's Build. Janelle Williams, also a member of our board. Okay, Sandra Goff. All right. Alice, I see. Alice Hamrajbian. And I see Kelly McCune. And probably you want to tell them about Kelly's fabulous event that brought in just lots and lots of money.
Why, Kelly, come forward. Alice also, please.
Yeah.
I'd really rather Kelly. Come, Alice.
Yeah, come.
Please. We can't ever keep you back any other time. Come on. We're such a strong team. We women are really fantastic. Kelly, step forward. I saw Kelly. I'm sorry.
No, by the mic. So.
Forgive me.
Yeah, by the mic.
Thank you. Kelly McCune stepped forward from working. I saw her volunteering in our builder supply office, our big, huge warehouse. Busy, cleaning wonderful handmade tiles. And Kelly also is a parent of some children at Westridge School. So I worked there one day a week. I said, hey, Kelly, why don't we get together and come on our team, on the Women's Build team? And, of course, her eyes flashed. And from then on, Kelly McCune and her team have stepped forward and done some tremendous push that has given us, our build itself, impetus to fight on, because we're going to continue through the end of February. You're not through seeing our faces. You're not through seeing us with our little pamphlets, which I would love to be able to leave on the table if I can when we leave. Kelly, if you would step forward and give us a quick example of how she excelled all of our donors.
Well, I was happy to represent Pasadena because I'm so pleased that Glendale is where a lot of this goes on, but I want to try to educate my Pasadena fellows with about Habitat for Humanity. And we threw a big fundraiser, and people were just so much more generous than we even expected, and have gotten almost $20,000 from mostly donors in the Pasadena area. So we're just spreading the news.
She's our hero.
Thank you, Kelly.
And we all are.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And then also in the audience, we have Paula Devine and Lana Lott. Want to stand up there from the Commission on the Status of Women. And they've been our biggest cheerleaders, I think, on the Women's Build, too, spreading the word and helping in every way that they can, in addition to a $5,000 donation. So we're very grateful, and thank you for being here today. Next, I want to talk about the Bankers Build. Howard Wu, have you arrived? Howard Wu is on our board. He's our treasurer, and he was the chairperson for the Bankers Build. And he's still working on this, too, to get his team up to the full $100,000. But so far, we're very grateful to the Union Bank of California Foundation, who made a pledge of $50,000. 25 of that has been paid. 25 will come this summer. And also instrumental in that donation was our advisory board member Bill Wolford, who is out there every day at your Glendale projects, and I'm sure you've met him. He's a wiry, young retiree and just full of energy and has been a great contributor in many, many ways. Next, I want to honor the Glendale Association of Realtors, and I know that Dan Lanning is here. Dan and Rick Bunyadi, would you please come forward? When I first talked with Dan, we were talking about a team with a sponsorship of $100,000, and Dan was definitely on board and worked hard to make that happen. He's amazing because he personally wrote a grant to the California Association of Realtors, and although it wasn't funded in the full amount that you requested, $25,000 did come from that source, and it was coupled with an additional $10,000 from the Glendale Association of Realtors. It's a magnificent effort, and although you may feel disappointed about it, we don't feel that way at all, and we thank you very much. Please say a word.
I think projects like this highlight the needs of affordable housing in our city, and we're proud to be part of it, and we will participate in the future should the occasion arise. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, I want to talk about our faith bill, and this is the opportunity for churches to get involved, to join together in an effort to build a Habitat home. And this committee was chaired by Tom Adams, who is on our board, and he is an ordained minister and also a family therapist. The main contributors to this are right here in your own Glendale community, and at this time I'd like to have the Reverend Jim Anderson come forward. And Jim, are any of your other colleagues with you here today from the church? Okay. Well, Jim chaired a task force at Glendale First United Methodist and was instrumental in working with the United Methodist Men's Group in getting a lot of excitement going. And I'll let him tell you about why the Kenwood homes were particularly inspirational in this church.
I don't know if you know it, but the official address of First United Methodist Church is 134 Kenwood Street. And part of what we did was to say, hey, it's on our street, and we really needed to help with this project. Our United Methodist men have been providing lunches led by their 98-year-old president, Bob Parkinson, at some of the builds here in Glendale. We didn't know how the congregation would respond to this, but through individual giving and groups and classes in the church, we were able to raise $25,000 for this, and I'm very pleased with that. And on behalf of Dr. Wayne Walters, our senior pastor, it's a pleasure to be with you and a pleasure really to help you out, Sonia. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
No, if I could, you said about the women's build, and if 20,000 were mentioned, but actually the women gave almost $75,000.
Yes, the women did.
And that was never mentioned.
I'm sorry. Thank you very much for correcting that. Certainly not an intentional slight there. The women were listed first in the teams because they are our champions, at least thus far. And hooray for the women, right? Thank you. Okay. Then if you would look down at the other gifts and individuals, I wish that we could talk to you about all of them, but you'll see a breakout. There was one gift of over $25,000, 9 gifts in addition to the ones that are already accounted for above, ranging from 5 to almost 10,000. 19 gifts in the range of 1,000 to 4,999, 8 gifts in the $500 to $9.99 category, 104 smaller gifts from $100 to $4.99, and gifts less than $100, there were 61 of those. So as I said at our Christmas for Kenwood celebration, it's taken all the way from the widow's mite to the major foundations to make this happen, but we are extremely happy to report to you that we are substantially there. And now I want to recognize some people who helped in this whole endeavor. Peggy Spear, would you please come to the podium and be recognized? Peggy lives in Altadena. She was kind enough to come out of retirement, having worked as a major gifts coordinator for the Huntington, to provide counsel to us as to how we go about this major endeavor. And we just are so grateful, Peggy, for your advice, for the people you have brought to us during this campaign, and for you, as you have been with us throughout. So,
well, I thank you. It has been, it's amazing now to look back on where we were this time last year, starting with a board retreat, and raising this amount of money for this organization in this time is really quite extraordinary. And I think part of it has to do with visionary leadership, which we have right here, and partly with such an important program to provide low-income housing. And then it is a way of building community in this country that is unique to the United States. Philanthropy in this country, and foundations have made a great difference in this campaign, and I'm just so glad to be here today to celebrate this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And next, I want to recognize Emily Stork, who has been our grant writer and fund developer Vista for about a year and a half. Emily, please come forward. And Emily's dad, Ted, come on up and be here, and we'll talk about both of you. Emily has been a major contributor, day in, day out. She's writing grants of all sizes. You know, it might be a few $100s up to some major money, $20,000, $30,000. And she was very successful in this endeavor. So successful, in fact, that she now has the offer of a real job with her alma mater, Mount Holyoke. And she celebrated, we weren't celebrating, but she was, her last day last Friday. And now she is going on to be the West Coast Major Gifts Developer for her alma mater, based on her experience with us, her very successful experience. So, Emily, want to say a word?
Well, I just like to say that being with Habitat has been a great experience, and I don't plan to be a stranger. So I'm sure that the grants, I want to make sure that the grants continue in the fashion that they have been. We have probably now about a 60% success rate. Maybe it used to be, it might even be more than that, 60 to 70% success rate, which is pretty good when you consider. And it was a great experience, and I love Habitat.
Thank you. And this is her dad, Ted. He came in and helped with raising some funds from attorneys in the area, too. So, Ted, thank you very much. We appreciate both of you. Okay, I'm looking around to see Christine. You're the next one. Please come forward. Christine McLaughlin is our accountant, and I hired her in October of 2004 to come and help us really strengthen our financial position. And she indeed has done that. We have, thanks to the endorsement of our board, added a very sophisticated accounting and donor integrated system with Blackbaud. So we're in a position to immediately tell you today how much money we've raised, who we got it from, and all of that. Several years ago, we wouldn't have been able to do that. So we're growing our organization at the same time that we're growing our relationship with you. And Christine has been an integral part of that. And we can't thank you enough for doing a fabulous job in tracking all this money that's been coming in the last year. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I just want to tell you that it is a high privilege to be part of Habitat, and I will cherish that forever. This is my last week with Habitat. I'm moving on to be a teacher, so I'll look forward to that, but we'll remember Habitat. But I live in Pasadena, and I just want to applaud the city of Glendale for what I would call long-term thinking. That I saddened to say many cities do not have such visions for the hard-working families of their community. And so I just applaud you in your ongoing effort and how you have looked forward into the future to see that these needs need to be addressed. And so I want to personally thank you for that.
Thank you, Christine. Are there any late arrivals or anyone that we've not honored today for your part in this Kenwood campaign? Don't be bashful. Let us know. Yes, please stand up. Working on the women's bill. Yes. Thank you so much. So, Peter and members of the authority, I believe that concludes my report, unless you have any questions at this time.
When do you start to build?
Well, that will depend on how quickly we can get through the permitting process. And Vicki and her staff have some details of the design to complete. Then we'll be working on getting all of the permits. And we hope that it is in the second half of 2007. That would be our goal.
Very good. I would like to commend everyone that has put so much work and effort into this project. And we are elated that you continuously come to the city of Glendale and address some of the social issues that we're facing and will be facing over the next number of years in our communities. And we're glad to have Habitat in our community. We look forward to this project and future projects as well. And I want to congratulate you on the amount of work that you've done, the amount of funds that you have raised. I don't think anyone else has raised that much funds from philanthropic groups in the community to come up with that much funds to start the project. So congratulations, and we look forward to the project. It's going to be a great one.
Thank you very much.
I want to say how excited I am. This is for people who are watching on television. This will be the first subterranean parking project. It looks just beautiful, thanks to that brilliant architect that you've hired. And as recently as last week, when people ask me about affordable housing in the city of Glendale, I always mention Habitat for Humanity, and I always mention that you are by far the most efficient and best affordable housing developers that we have in this city and that I've been familiar with throughout the years. So congratulations to you, and we need to find another site for you.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you.
And I do agree the design is really great, and the way Habitat approaches the designs in terms of not building property line to property line and allowing enough green space where it looks like more like a home as opposed to a development. So it is a nice design. I'm very happy with it. With that, if there are no other comments, we'll ask for the roll and move on to the next project. Next project for Habitat, that is.
Authority members Mincy?
Yes.
Najarian?
Yes.
Horazian?
Yes.
Quintero?
Yes.
Weaver?
Aye.
Yusefian? Chairman Manukian?
Yes. Congratulations. And I urge everyone, as soon as the project gets going, to go out there and swing a hammer or two. I will try to do my best to be out there. Last one I wasn't able to, but this one definitely is a special one, so I'll try to be out there. So
the fundraising is still ongoing.
Oh, absolutely.
And anyone who's watching and is moved by this and Habitat's work, you're more than welcome to write a check and send it to Habitat for Humanity in the San Gabriel Valley branch.
Very good. Thank you. And next item, please.
Next item is Director of Community Development and Housing regarding recognition of Retiring Housing Programs Administrator Ray Vargas.
Yes, Mr. Starburn.
I'll go to Madeline Blake. Madeline?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Ray, if you would come forward. It is a pleasure for me to recognize Ray, and with some sadness, because we are really going to miss Ray. Ray Vargas, as my husband said to me this morning, has a real spirit that he has brought to his position, and that is really what we will miss. I would like to just highlight a few of the contributions and accomplishments for Ray Vargas. He started with the city in 1979 and will retire with 27 years of service. He has been the administrator for the Housing Assistance Section in the Community Development Department. It's the fourth largest housing agency in L.A. County, administering 2,800 rental vouchers. He has served as the president of the Southern California Housing Authority Executive Directors Association, which is an organization of 40 housing authorities from Kern County to the Mexican border. Ray was significant after the Northridge earthquake in bringing additional Section 8 certificates to this community, and was one of the 5 area housing authorities sought after by HUD to assist with relocation of families affected by the earthquake. Following the earthquake, Ray took part in the formation of an interagency mutual aid network with other housing authorities, which he helped put together and which is in place today, preparing for the next disaster. In 2002, Ray took the initiative to meet with Los Angeles City to encourage them to approve allowing Glendale applicants for the LA Housing Authority to use their vouchers in Glendale, and encouraging them to waive their LA City residency. They did that. Ray was the first one to approach LA City. They did it, and that meant an additional 1,300 elderly and family applications came to the city of Glendale as a result of that. It was a huge contribution for this community. The National Association of Housing and Redevelopment Officials has awarded several of Ray's initiatives with awards of merit. One is the Housing Integrity Project, which is the effort to identify and eliminate fraud and abuse in the program. His open enrollment strategy that used multiple languages in public marketing and technology, which resulted in 12,000 applications for Section 8. And for innovation in creating housing incentives to increase affordable housing during the period where the market was really high. And this is really a tribute also to the Housing Authority, with creative programs such as the Dwelling Repair Grants and the Moving Assistance Grants. Since 1998, when HUD initiated the Management Assessment Program, the Section 8 program in this community under Ray's leadership has been a high performer, exceeding and maintaining performance standards. These are a few of the accomplishments, but what I will say is Ray has a very high standard. He sets the bar extremely high for the administration of this program. It's in many ways a thankless job, as many of you know. It's probably the highest need in the community for families and elderly, the need for affordable housing. That's demonstrated by the 12,000 applications. It's a very difficult job. Ray has done an outstanding job, not just for the city of Glendale, but he's really been a leader and recognized by HUD, not just in California, but nationally, for the work he has done with this program, and the citizens of this community have benefited. And so, with that, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Madeline. I do have to say that Ray's a fellow Air Force veteran, so congratulations. Do we salute each other?
No, we'll
okay.
do civilian.
All right.
We may if you'd like.
Yeah, that's okay. I must say that over the past 8 years that I've been on the council, there hasn't been an issue that has been so pronounced as the housing issue as we deal with Habitat, the housing issue in the community. And Ray has been at the heart of that whole housing increases and housing issues that we faced in the city with being in charge of the Section 8 department. And I know I've referred to him more often than he'd care to remember. But he's done an outstanding job, as Madeline has just stated, in terms of being proactive with some of the opportunities that were presented over the past 8 years to increase the number of Section 8 housing that we've had in the city from 7,800 to approximately 2,900 at this point. And that's an increase of, $13 million a year approximately, if not more. So that's a tremendous amount of assistance to the community that he has been able to provide with his proactive management of that section. And I'm really proud to say that we are very happy with the work that you've done in the city. We hate to see you go because you have all this knowledge and experience that we've been benefiting over the past number of years. But I wish you all the best and all the respect for the work that you've done and appreciate the work that you've done in the city. So congratulations.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you very much. Really beautiful.
And he's got a 10-minute speech that he will.
No, thank you.
Let's
again,
put
thank
that
you
up
very
there.
much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you don't trip into it.
Thank you. There are actually a few more moments in it.
Okay.
You may want to sit down unless you want to.
Yes, I'll
All
sit.
right. No, thank you, Chairman Manukian and members of the Housing Authority, and of course, Madeline Blake, our director, for a generous introduction. I want to take a few moments to tell you that it has been a high privilege to be of service here to the agency of the Housing Authority of the City of Glendale. And that is something that anywhere where I go among housing authorities, Glendale stands very tall. The affordable housing programs that have been developed and continue to be developed, as the example in the report that we just heard a moment ago, combined with the voucher programs in our history, speak for themselves. And so Glendale, really, when I started in 1979, we were like a small fish in a big sea, but now Glendale takes note. It sort of forms the model or template of how things should be done and done correctly. So the voucher program is innovative. What we can say about Glendale, our programs are innovative, forward-thinking, and very results-oriented. So the courage of the Housing Authority is to take reasonable risks and new challenges, as exampled earlier, is just one of a long line of a tradition that we have here in Glendale. And it's been, of course, in my role as the Housing Assistance Administrator, a great privilege. There were some examples, the dwelling repair grant, the moving assistance grant, when we needed to leverage our monies to create opportunities for our housing voucher families. These were created with the approval of the Housing Authority. And it created the money to make opportunities available for our tenants to secure decent, safe, and sanitary housing. And there was no other city in California that leveraged in this instance, its housing set-aside funding with the voucher program to create this type of opportunity for families. Many communities struggle with their housing voucher program. There are communities where apartment owners close doors to opportunities for tenants with vouchers, and that is not true here. We really need to express our appreciation to the Glendale apartment owner real estate community. Thousands of owners and property management company have provided opportunities for our tenants to participate in the program. I do not think that would be true were it not for the public trust and confidence that the public has for this agency and the work that we do. They know that we take our work with a great amount of dedication, and that we, in our role of being public stewards of such a large fund of housing assistance, that they can trust the Glendale Housing Authority to be good stewards of the taxpayer. So there's not a day that I do not thank the City of Glendale for the opportunities to work here. In my background, I feel it's not just a job, it's been a part of a connection of my feeling of community and my background, my values, and they've all actually been fulfilled here in the role as an administrator. There are many fine people who really make the difference, and we all know that there are people around who form a team. They provide the machinery that everyday work gets done, and often with very little appreciation from the public. But in our audience today, we've invited members of the staff, and with your permission, I'd just like to have them stand, because we rarely let them get away from the front lines to actually attend a meeting of the Housing Authority, so I know that it would be a privilege for me to introduce them with your permission, if I may. And with Artie's, I may use that microphone. Thank you. And pardon my back. I'd like the Housing Authority staff to please stand. This is the housing assistant staff. These comprise the various people and their tasks. And if I may quickly introduce them here, beginning in the first row. Carolina Siegler is a community development supervisor. She oversees...
Council, we can take their names down.
All right. I will. She is a supervisor that oversees the operation of leasing, occupancy, and they had many, many tasks associated with this program. We also have Melina Mahmoudi. And next to her, Amaral Akmajan. And next to her, Arpi Kalahijan. And they are housing advisors, and they do the day-to-day work of service representatives to our apartment owners and meeting with the tenants, qualifying the tenants for housing. And thank you. In the next row, I'd like to introduce, starting on the left, Sylvia Ortega, housing advisor, Joseph Rodarte, administrative analyst, and we have Cindy Williams, administrative analyst. We have Hagop Hosepian, who's our techie. He runs the information system. And I want to tell you, Glendale is in the forefront. We selected an information system that New York recently purchased and Los Angeles City recently purchased. We selected an information system that will do the work. And Hagop, we stole him actually from the city of Pasadena, and he's doing a great job. Thank you. Followed in the next row, I'll start to the right, we have Armine Gavorkian. She is a support staff, and her job is to assist every day the telephone calls and literally the hundreds of people who come to the housing assistance office with questions about...
What is her phone number?
She was on television last night, or the night before, on a local Armenian television program, and I understand there were many, many callers, and Armine is a very well-known face in this community, and she does a great job of providing customer service to our members of the public. And along with her is Odette Ivazian, who also performs the same function. She's with us now, about a year or so, and she's a new addition to our housing staff. To her right is Arthur Bobolian, housing advisor. He's a very unique person in this community, and he also, as you know, will appear on television and radio assisting the public with calls about housing assistance. And he's a very special member of our team. To his right is Diana Gomez, housing advisor. Lydia Becerra, housing technician. Lydia Becerra is a property inspector for the program. Her job, as well as the two gentlemen standing behind her, Mr. Daniel Valdez and Dave Stimson, their job is to ensure that the dwelling units that qualify for the program meet the standards of decent, safe, and sanitary. These are tough jobs, but they are really the face out in the field that really make the difference in the quality of units that we serve under the program. Thank you. To Mr. Stimson's left is Georgiana Martinez, support staff, and she does everything in the office dealing with our reports and payment generation. We have Sona Markarian. She's a rather unique staffer. She's a housing advisor, also qualifying tenants and serving as a representative to the apartment owners here in the program. She's trilingual. She's Armenian, English, and Spanish speaking. So we sought her out, and she's really been an addition to the staff since she's worked with us. Finally, we have Felicia Harris, who is she is administrative assistant. She oversees the payment generation every month with with the finance department to ensure that every subsidy to each family is paid on a timely basis. It's a very difficult job. She has a lot on her plate, and we're very happy to have Felicia Harris here today. Followed to her left is Mr. Daniel Ornelas, housing advisor. He's been with our department almost a good number of years now. He's a senior veteran also as well, very qualified in doing the function of eligibility screening and contracting for the program. Thank you all. And these are the people that make me look good. And like any team, to me, they represent the future. They represent new challenges. They represent the resources and assets that make this department very special. In conclusion, I'd like to thank Madeline Blake and Jess Duran, directors of the department. They've had a vision to keep the department focused on the projects and the needs and involvement in the community, and in working with you and in previous councils and housing authorities. and to make our department very special. That brings a great amount of pride to me. Mr. Starbird as well, who's been our executive director. That's his title with the Housing Authority. He'll often have to navigate through the memorandums, and I know he's been inundated every day with HUD memos, emails.
Forward them on, right?
We forward them on. And of course, Scott Howard and legal staff that assist us in many ways with those issues that impact the work that we do. So with this, I want to thank you once again for the opportunity to serve the residents of the city of Glendale and for your support. And I wish you well-being in all the decisions that you make in the future.
Let me say a few words about my friend. We met in 1979, and what hasn't been mentioned today is all the numerous boards and nonprofits that he's worked with. In addition to being a City of Glendale employee, he's also spent a lot of his own time just sort of helping the cause here in Glendale. It's been a pleasure knowing you, Ray. You live right nearby, so hopefully you'll still spend lots of time here in Glendale and give us plenty of insight and some of your energy.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Quintero.
Go ahead. Weaver, Nigerian.
I just want to say, Ray, I'm getting very tired of people like you retiring. Seems like on a daily basis. I don't know why you're retiring this young. You could give at least another 10 years. You know, you take a lot of institutional knowledge with you. And I know when I've gone to the League of California Cities, I go in some of the sessions, and I mention I'm from Glendale, California. They know of community housing development, how much we are at the forefront. And I just pray that we can bring somebody in to do what you have done. It's not going to be easy shoes to fill. And where are you going, and what are you going to do? You haven't told us that.
I saw the other day, I saw a truck or an automobile that had a bumper strip, and it said something to the effect that living starts, or life is, the secret to life is living it. And I said, well, that's a good motto to sort of take off as I begin my retirement. And actually, Mayor Weaver, I plan to assist the department if they need any help on any
Good.
special
That's
projects.
what I wanted to hear.
And stay involved. In fact, I made a commitment to work actually at the new Habitat with some, use some muscle and get some fresh air. So it's nearby. It's a good project, and I've followed the Habitat program for a number of years, so it'll be a privilege to help in another way with some of the...
So you're going to retire and stay in this area?
Yes.
Good.
Mr. Jerry.
Ray, I want to give you my thanks for your 27 years of doing such important work for the city. But more important, I want to extend the thanks of the hundreds and thousands of families that you've helped obtain housing and live good, decent lives here in Glendale. They maybe didn't even meet you personally, but certainly if they knew the effect that you had on their lives, they would be here in throngs cheering you on. And I think it's just great to meet all the staff, the people that you work with. I think it's very selfless of you to bring them in and introduce them all. And I think it's a great trait of a team leader to introduce your team and give them some of the accolades as well. And now I can put the face to some of the names. Armina's name has come up quite often as we discuss the issue of affordable housing, and I think it's great to hear, and we heard it from the Habitat folks as well, that the City of Glendale is not afraid, that they are committed to working and tackling the issue of affordable housing, where some other cities and some of the other property owners in certain cities just don't want to deal with it. We've got a great crew, and I'm very glad to hear that you're going to still be available for advice and consulting. And let's go up the ladder to Madeline and then Jesteran as well for your great efforts in keeping this housing issue under control. And the housing, as the prices go up, it just becomes so difficult for people to find places to live. You're doing a great job, and as I said, on behalf of the community, we congratulate you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jerry.
I also want to mention, I've worked with Ray for a number of years. I consider him a friend, but he has always been a professional. And one of the reasons Glendale has such a good reputation, besides everyone else, is your work and your innovation. We have a Section 8 advisory council now, with interested people that are on Section 8 can voice their opinions before it comes here to housing. But everything you've done seems low-key, but very positive. And we just always really appreciate it. I'm glad you brought everybody here today so they can all hear how much we appreciate what they all do.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mincy.
I'm new to the Housing Authority, and knowing you at this short time, it was great honor working with you and being in touch with you and talking to you. It was great experience, and you will be greatly missed by us and by your staff. Thank you, the job you've done.
Much, Mr. President. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Just want to know, is he going to be an unpaid consultant, or is he?
Oh, definitely, definitely, yes.
And you have his phone number?
I don't think we can afford him at his new rates.
All the Section 8 people
Yes.
who start calling will just
Forward them to him?
Yeah.
Brilliant move, brilliant move.
Very good. Again, all the best, and we shall move on to the next item.
Any authority member or staff comments?
We have no comments. With nothing else,
Move we
adjourn.
We are adjourned at 3:30. There's nothing on that.
You may leave, we got redevelopment. We do have one more meeting, so.
We'll just take a minute for everyone to clear the room.
So we can do the next long meeting. Can we wrap up the next meeting in a minute?
Will you exit because they have another...
You get them done. Go get them done.